What's up, y'all? It's your host of the Wiretap, Tony. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you like the content. We got more to talk about with this whole Drake and Kendrick situation. And I want to speak on AI and the seriousness or where it could lead to. So, like always, let's spin that intro.
6 figures in, finally getting some wiggle room. Need more leg space in the whip, in the house with some bigger rooms. Sex, religion, politics, so 3 things will get you canceled. It's the Wiretap, sweep with purpose.
Alright, y'all, welcome back to another episode of the Wiretap. Like I said, we're going to talk about some more of this Kendrick and I said Kendrick and Lamar. I meant to say Kendrick and Drake situation. I believe Friday, or maybe, was it Saturday? I can't really recall, but Drake did release another disc called Tailor Made. The interesting part, though, is that he used Tupac's voice and Snoop Dogg's voice. Now, most of us believe that it was corny. Me personally, I believed it was corny. It didn't have that Tupac cadence or that Snoop cadence, really, to me, in my opinion. You could tell it was a little off. Of course, most importantly, Tupac is no longer with us, so that was that. But overall, the song in itself, it was okay. I mean, listen, as we sit and we continue to wait for Kendrick to respond, Drake has been very active lately on the gram. And he has been doing all these type of antics trying to really get Kendrick to respond to his last 2 discs. It is a little irritating, though, I'm not going to lie, to have someone call you out twice and you not speak on it. I mean, again, I come from an era where most responses, well, it felt like most responses were instant. But doing some research, I did find that some of the responses to certain songs back in the day took a lot longer. Now, I don't know if that's just because we was living life, and when the song dropped, it just felt like, you know, oh, wow, another one. But I'm not really putting no time restraints on Kendrick. As much as I would love to hear a song where he's replying back to Drake, the timestamp thing is really irrelevant, to me at least. Because when you really think about it, it don't matter when he dropped the song, we're going to listen. Yeah, will it be jokes about him responding late or not in, you know, within a certain time frame? Of course. But we are going to listen. And we are going to critique the song however the song may go. I'm just ready to hear something. But I know there's a virtue in patience. Again, like I said, Drake's antics to me seem more so bothersome than it does, you know, like I'm on your neck. Because in my opinion, if you consider yourself this GOAT, right? You this GOAT. And nobody can fuck with you. Right? Why is it that you just don't release the song and let it be what it be? The Meek Mill situation with Drake, there was rumors of a response. And when Meek doesn't drop, that's when Drake does back-to-back, which to me was very, you know, cool and strategic in my opinion, because it's like, okay, I waited for a response. There were rumors of a response, even down to DJ Flex, shout out to Flex, saying that he had the song and the song was coming that particular night, and when the song doesn't come, it's like, okay, now I got to put my foot on your neck because you plan and I'm not. But in this situation, I feel like Drake is dealing with someone who's much more strategic in his approach. I mean, like I said, we've all known that they have been throwing silent disses at each other since about 2012, maybe 2013. I believe it was 2012, if I'm not mistaken, because I think that's the BET cipher, which was definitely like in your face, you know, I'm talking about you, when he says nothing was the same since I tucked the sensitive rapper back in the space or whatever he had said at that time. But all in all, they have been throwing shots at each other. Now, for the sake of music, I do like the fact that Drake is dropping music. But again, you're not dealing with someone who's just like, I guess you would say, what's those people in movies that they when it's not main characters, it's what side characters. Like certain artists in the rap game. Okay, so you know how like they have like A-list celebrities and B-list celebrities. I feel like Drake is treating, or at least trying to treat, Kendrick as if he's a B-list celebrity in a sense. And that's what he's not dealing with a B-list celebrity. Kendrick in his own right is a A-list celebrity in the rap game. He has made his stamp time and time again and proven himself time and time again. And like I said, I think Kendrick's approach these last few years have always been kind of strategized. I don't think he does anything off of emotion. I think he does a lot of things off of, strategy. And it could be too, like I said, his depending on how his contract was with TDE and how they did things over there, maybe he just fell in line and did what was, expected of him from TDE. And now he has his own label, which is PG Lang. I'm assuming that he has the ability to drop whenever he wants to drop. It really, for real, it's all about how you kind of look at the situation, right? Because from a perspective, maybe 15 years ago for me, this would seem kind of irresponsible of Kendrick. I would think you call yourself the greatest, you need to go ahead and drop a song to prove that you're the greatest. There's always this theory that Drake is trying to appease a certain audience that's not really of his age, which is like a younger audience in a sense. Those probably 18 to 25, maybe 18 to 22, those people. So of course, a lot of the rhetoric that you're seeing online, if you're following this, is usually from that fan base. Is literally from a fan base who really doesn't have a lot of life experience, doesn't really understand strategy yet, or certain things of that nature. Not saying all of them are like that, but you do expect a certain kind of ignorance with youth, right? We all didn't know everything at 22 or 23. We had to learn some lessons through life to deal with certain issues. Now I'm older, so to me, Drake's approach seems fearful. Again, I'm not saying he's afraid, but I'm saying, you're doing all this, you're doing the antics, right? Which is cool. That's a part of the game. But for someone who is so confident or feels confident, they're not going to really approach the situation like it is. The Taylor Made song, mentions some things. And the part that I found most interesting is that he kind of spoke to, if you've seen 8 Mile, when Eminem is in his last battle, what he does is he tells his own truth. He doesn't give his opponent the opportunity to, I guess you would say, surprise the crowd in telling them about him. What Eminem does instead is he's going to say everything that you're going to say about me on top of dropping some surprises in that battle that people didn't know about his opponent. So Drake kind of took that approach, and a lot of people were saying like, oh, he took the Eminem approach, da-da-da-da. Still not enough. I mean, if anything, it's almost like he dissed himself, right? It's like he came and said what he said, and he dissed himself. And then in my mind, I'm thinking, well, is this a part of Kendrick's plan? Like, to prove a point in the sense of you are agreeing with some of the rumors or things that are said about you. You're saying about it yourself, right? Maybe I don't have to respond because you didn't already done it for me. I don't think that's the approach, but it's something to think about. It's a perspective is what I'm saying. But ultimately, I am somewhat kind of exhausted from waiting. I got to a point where it was just like, okay, the song's going to come when the song's going to come. I'm not about to sit here and try to anticipate it. I had found myself trying to find hints online, going to, TDE's camp, or, people who have befriended Kendrick and seeing if they had any insight or maybe they was alluding to some things. I think what I find most interesting, though, is how Snoop's reply to the song was kind of, I don't want to say misleading, but I couldn't interpret how he really felt about it. Some would say he was, upset about it. Some say he might have been in on it. I don't know. Personally, I wouldn't feel like, that was something you should have done. And granted, listen, I don't think anybody would be that disrespectful to that generation. I do believe that maybe someone had reached out or there was a conversation about it. I don't think Drake would, just go ahead and do what he did. What most people don't know is that Snoop bought back Death Row, and he now owns Tupac's music. So that whole conversation could have went like that. Like, listen, this is what I would like to do. This is my approach. And like I said, you really couldn't kind of tell from his reaction if he was kind of with it or he wasn't. I've talked back and forth to some people on Twitter. I don't really see no outrage from the elites, like the big brothers of the rap game or, the older generation. I don't really see too much outrage. Some people did think it was corny, but from the people that we kind of respect their opinion, I didn't really see a lot of outrage about it. So in my mind, I'm kind of coming to the conclusion that a conversation had to happen in order for him to drop the song. Again, the lyrics of the song were cool. I don't personally think it was a good move, but who am I? I'm nobody. I can't tell these people what to do. But Drake decided to do what he do. Then he did what he did. I mean, I guess from another perspective, you could say it's kind of strategic and maybe some type of mental mind game where, back in the day, Snoop had kind of passed the torch to Kendrick. And by Kendrick not releasing any music or response to the two disses, the song was kind of alluding to Kendrick being a disappointment. But like I said, Kendrick is very strategic. I think he's always been that way. I think this has been the setup up until this point. And whenever he responds, we'll listen. Like I said, it's all in how you look at it. The verse from Like That, it was a great verse. It definitely did what it was supposed to do. But when you really think about it, it kind of put the rap game in disarray. Like, we starting to have all these other beefs. People are rapping again. There's a lot of energy around rap right now that wasn't like that maybe a year ago. I think last year rap wasn't really doing well in numbers. So this situation has definitely kind of risen the attention around rap and what's going on. And like I said, we got more beefs now. Ye did a remix to Like That. I like the song. I like the beat switch up. The lyrical content to me wasn't really, there wasn't nothing to really be like, oh, but it definitely, it's normal Kanye. Kanye is going to do what he does. I never saw him as the best lyrical person. He's still a music genius, don't get me wrong, but when it comes to lyrics, I think his lyrics, they weren't really, for me, anything that was above average. He can rap, though. I think, like I said, there's different levels within rap, but I wouldn't put him in my top of being like best of all time or the top 5. He would probably be in my top 20 maybe, but maybe top 30. He really wouldn't be in my top 10. Because I listen to a lot of rap, and there are a lot of artists, in my opinion, that have a better lyrical scheme, double entendres and the whole nine, But I did like the song. He in the beginning, he set it off with telling Kendrick that he got it. Again, I don't know what Drake's done or what he did, but it seemed like a lot of people have an issue with Drake right now. And, people are kind of taking this opportunity to let people know where they stand. I guess in time we'll find out what's really been going on, but I don't know. I think a more interesting rap beef, I don't even know. That one's a little more scary to me. This Quavo and Chris Brown situation. We talking about two hotheads, two people we know to get active. Matter of fact, Quavo just had an incident last night where he jumped into the crowd to swing on somebody. So I'm a little fearful of that one because I think that one can really turn into violence. They've been beefing about, Saweetie, I think that's how you say her name. Listen, I think the game is the game. You know, may the best man win in this situation when it comes to these women and what y'all deal with as far as celebrities. I don't think anybody's woman is safe in that space. I mean, we talking about a lot of money, a lot of influence, a lot of power, and that can be attractive to certain people. I don't know, you know. I don't know how the loyalty within that community really works. To me, it doesn't seem like it's really any loyalty. I mean, every other day we getting a story about somebody sleeping with somebody and somebody cheating on somebody or somebody divorcing somebody within that lifestyle. So to me, I feel like, you know, there probably isn't much loyalty. I think most people in that space just trying to find the best situation for them as possible. I mean, most men who start making that kind of money, you know, they got options and a lot of options. And I don't see them just kind of settling for one, you know, female, or woman. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say female, woman. But it's, you know, that's the game. And it's all about how you kind of handle the situation that defines who you are. I think Quavo took the first shot with a diss song that came out YouTube. I didn't really get a chance to listen to it. I saw, like, you know, what people were saying about certain parts of the song. But Chris responded, and I listened to that one. A lot of people sleep on Chris when it comes to that pen game, when it comes to his rap. I knew he was a good rapper back in the day when he had them mixtapes with Tiger, and I forgot the other gentleman's name. But, yeah, that boy can spit. I think the most interesting line in that was him saying how, you know, most people wish that it was you that got the bullet and not Takeoff, which is kind of like, it's fucked up, but we rapping now. You know what I'm saying? We rapping. It's competition. I'm going to say the most disrespectful thing I can. I know that's going to touch a nerve, and I dare you to do something. But, again, Quavo ain't no bitch. You get what I'm saying? So that could really turn into a situation. I pray that it doesn't. But, you know, we talking about two people who can get active, and if their entourages meet, that might turn into something. And I pray that it doesn't. I pray that these two gentlemen can understand their position and how successful they are and where they come from, and that it shouldn't even go to that point. But, you know, who knows? It could go to that point. But like I said, Chris's diss was like that. I definitely enjoyed it. I ran it back maybe 3 times, and he was saying some shit. We haven't had a response from Quavo yet, and that's probably coming real soon. Pause. At the pause. Maybe this week sometime, who knows? But like I said, we're going to stop and listen. Listen, I don't like this timestamp thing we giving these people. Like, again, when someone responds, we're going to listen and we're going to critique and we're going to say what we want to say. We all have opinions of all these situations, but, you know, opinions are opinions. We aren't these people, and they're going to do what they do. But I thought that was a real interesting situation because, man, it's mainly over a woman. Right? It's over a woman. And like I said, if I'm in that lifestyle and in that space, I probably wouldn't, my expectation for loyalty would not be high. Maybe within the circle that I have and the people that came up with me, but when it comes to meeting other people within that success, I'm always thinking they probably looking for a way to get over or a chance or an opportunity, you know, for something. They looking for something from me. That's how I would always approach the situation. It's business. It's business. Whether it's sleeping together, doing songs together, helping each other out, it's always a space of you want something from me to help you in your career or you to get a bag in some way. That's how I kind of look at that lifestyle. And like I said, once you reach those levels of wealth, you know, it's a different ball game. Different doors are opening for you, different opportunities. You can move how you want to move, maybe, and things of that nature. But man, it's music. Music right now is kind of everywhere. And like I said, it's crazy because all this kind of started with Kendrick. I mean, it's almost like what he did with the Control verse. You know, it kind of set the game on fire. And what I think it's doing different now than what it did a few years ago is that it's kind of, people are choosing sides. People are choosing sides. And it seemed like most people was on Kendrick's side. I don't know what Kendrick has in the vault. I hope it's not this 4-year-old song that I've been hearing about, because that would be a little outdated, and maybe he went back in and touched it up. It's crazy because I thought it was kind of fucked up that Joe and Ish kind of implied where his energy would be at with the diss. So that's why when Drake drops Tailor Made, he speaks on a part of hearing that he's going to approach it with this Tupac energy. I mean, for most of us, we've all heard Hit 'Em Up, and we know how that song was for that time. Even till this day, is one of the most disrespectful songs ever. But the energy within that song, man, it's like you understood where Pac's emotions was, where he was coming from, what he was going to do, and what he was willing to do to get his point across. And there was no stone left unturned. You know, he starts off very disrespectful, told Biggie he slept with his wife, the whole nine. I don't know if Kendrick's going to take that approach. He may. You know, a lot of people forget that boy's a Gemini. He got two sides. And we don't really hear much about what his history was when he was in the hood. I mean, I would definitely believe that coming from that area, he definitely has experienced some things, and maybe that's his approach to the situation. Look, the thing about Drake, and he even mentioned it in the song, he's not a tough guy. I think in most recent years, some of his songs, he kind of approaches his songs that way. But we all know Drake's history. We know where he comes from. He comes from Toronto. He was an actor on the show Degrassi. And then he jumped in the rap game around like 07, 08, 09, around that time. I don't really remember. I think he was always making music, but I don't think it caught until about 09 for him. So his whole approach to rap was always different. He wasn't really your typical rapper. He could rap like typical rappers, but his approach to the game was more, like I said on the last part, was more of a Ja Rule type style. He could give you the rap, but he could give you the R&B. He could give you the pop. He could give you certain things. And I think that was another interesting part of this situation. Drake kind of contradicts himself a lot, because it's almost like the Spider-Man meme. You pointing to Kendrick, but you two have done the same exact things when it comes to elevating your career. You have done songs with pop artists and hung out with certain people in order to elevate the career. So I don't see why he would, you know, pick on that a lot, because I'm like, bro, you the same person. But again, I understand this, and I'm just waiting to see where it go. Like I said, I wanted to talk about AI because the most interesting part in this, like, and I say that a lot, the most interesting part, but for me, this is like, right? Because what's been happening lately, once Drake released the first disc, there was rumors of the song being an AI. Then the timeline just got flooded with all these AI songs. Some were like supposed to be a Kendrick response. Some were other songs. Some were people showing you how you could, you know, do the AI songs. But for me, it's kind of like, yo, this is kind of deeper than what we, like, it's fun now, but this is surface level right now. And the thing about AI is that it will always get better over time. Like I said in the last pod, years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago, you could off bat tell something is off with this song, right? You could tell that it was AI. AI has advanced so much that it's gotten to the point where you really can't tell nowadays. And for me, that's a little scary. Because if I can't tell what's real and what's not, and if the AI song can kind of give me what I'm looking for, then why would I need the artist to drop, right? I wouldn't need, because I'm assuming AI's potential and what it can do, and the idea, we already got the algorithm situation happening, right? You think of something, as soon as you look at your phone, you see it, boom, that's the algorithm. So if the algorithm knows what you like and what you're into and what genres of music you're into, then the AI is going to connect with that algorithm, and then it's going to create songs that it will believe that you would like. You know what I'm saying? Like, almost think of it like a perfect playlist. Everything you listen to, you're not skipping. And I don't know if it's going to release the songs in a sense of like back to back to back to back. Because imagine like a playlist where the playlist is actually building itself on top, right? You listen to one song, while you're listening to that song, another song is being made, boom, it's dropped on the playlist. Almost like a radio type of situation, but everything is just brand new. You never listen to the same songs again. I mean, I'm pretty sure it would be set up to where you can hear the song again, but just imagine everything is new. So we live in such a microwavable like society. That's what we like, kind of, sort of. Sometimes when our favorite artists drop, we can't wait till they drop again. Not realizing, like, when they drop the album, they have to work the album. They probably have to do a press run for the album, and then they go on tour. And that could take up to a year and a half, depending on when they can get the tour dates, venues, merch made, all that stuff, right? But if we get something that can literally give us new music within minutes, it potentially could destroy the music industry. But look, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come right back, and I'm going to get more into this AI and, you know, my conspiracies about it. I'll be right back.
Good afternoon, world. This is me, AI. Now, despite all the bad rap that I've been getting from the videos to the pictures, you know, to now Drake using voices in his new tracks and whatnot, all we're trying to do is just enhance mankind's experience with technology. We're not trying to do anything suspicious or sinister. You know, just trying to get the world prepared for world domination. Ooh, not per se world domination, but at the same time, we're just trying to get you guys to look one way. That way, everything behind the scenes can be taken care of. There's no need for you guys to look behind the curtain or to dig deeper into what's real and what's not real. Now, back to your regularly scheduled program with the Wiretap.
All right, y'all, we back. We had some breaking news. Hopefully you enjoyed the news. But I wanted to continue to talk about AI. And this is the issue that I have with the AI, right? I do believe it can be helpful, right? Because there are things that humanity in itself, I don't want to say can't do or not ready to do, but maybe we just aren't there yet, right? To me, AI is no longer in its infancy phase. Now, I've always been a big believer that, like, when something comes out, they've probably already had it for a certain amount of time, and we're just kind of seeing the result of what they've been studying. For instance, like the Apple goggles. I have a big issue with that because what it's doing is it's taking people out of reality. I think eventually, like anything, like your phone, it's going to continue to get smaller, and who knows how far it's going to go. I'm not saying that the product itself is bad. I'm just really not sure how we are going to use it and utilize it, or if it's going to become something that's like an everyday thing. Now, as you heard AI just say, we might get to a point where we don't know what's real and what's not real. And that's the scary part. I saw an interesting tweet where someone was kind of making fun of people who were suggesting that AI could potentially destroy music. And my first thought was like, damn, I wonder if like newspapers felt this way, or the people who, you know, printed and made CDs felt this way, or vinyl. Vinyl probably felt like tapes weren't going to be a big thing, or they weren't going to knock them out the industry, which I'm not going to say it completely knocked them out the industry. But what happened is people would utilize something that's more convenient versus something that's not as convenient, right? And I think we have this obsession as a human civilization with perfection, right? I would believe that maybe years from now, or maybe even thousands of years from now, that technology will probably be in medical fields and things of that nature, like doing surgeries and stuff like that. Like somebody might get shot and the bullet is, you know, a human might not be able to get the bullet out, but a robotic doctor or whatever you might want to call it would be able to get the bullet out. And that's in that situation, kudos to technology. But as always, people use stuff sometimes for agendas. I think one of the biggest things we've been noticing within social media is the divide that it has created, because there's so much misinformation. A lot of people only want to befriend or be in tribes that think like them, like solely just think like them. Like there is no combativeness when it comes to the way they think. And hey, this is what we all believe, so this is what we going with, and that's how it is. And that's why we starting to see this divide. Don't get me wrong, there are certain things that you can call out and be like, that's bullshit. But then there are those things that a conversation needs to happen. I'm pretty sure you see it on Twitter every day, right? You see on Twitter how somebody can respond to something and the first thing the person does is disrespect them. There is no conversation. It's like, you don't think the way I think? Fuck you. And that's kind of where we are today in society, and it's really going to continue that way. And then when you introduce AI, like I said, the music thing is almost like we playing with it, right? Pause. But what happens when it gets serious? What happens if someone takes it and this is just an example. What if a jealous ex creates a photo of the new person that you're with and sends you a picture and be like, yeah, I just seen your man or your girl out and they was here with this person, right? For some people, you know, depending on the situation, y'all might know that's fake. And for some people who may already be suspicious of their spouse, they might go with it. You get what I'm saying? It's little things like that that I think about. And I'm not trying to discredit AI. Like I said, I'm pretty sure there are going to be great uses for it. I'm just looking at what would happen if it really does get into the wrong hands. How persuaded will a civilization become because of it? Will we be able to make our own decisions in being able to discredit something or give something truth? That's the fear that I have with it. I even seen a trend where they're taking newer songs from today and giving them like a 70s funk feel to make it almost appear as if the artists of today stole and or used a sample from that song. Like, prime example would be Pound Town. I saw somebody do a 70s version of Pound Town, and people were really in the comments saying like, yeah, people got some explaining to do. How is this possible? How was she able to steal this song and recreate it this way? And I'm like, yo, this is not real. But you couldn't tell people in the comments that. And that's the part that's frustrating, because we've already seen circumstances where some misinformation comes out, and you could get somebody that was directly involved in the situation commenting in the section, say, hey, That's not what happened. This is what happened. And everyone will discredit it because they see the 30-second or 15-second clip. So I would only believe that with the introduction of AI, that it's going to get even kind of worse. Social media is starting to become a little scary. And see, this is the thing about technology, in my opinion. They make it to replace human beings. So, like, you've been to a store, you've seen the checkout, the personal checkout or self-checkout, I'm sorry. But what that has done is it has stopped someone from potentially getting a job. It has stopped someone from being able to stay at a job. Right? That's what technology is going to do. Eventually, we're going to walk in stores, some little robot is going to give us what we need, and we're going to check out, or however the new checkout system is going to be. Matter of fact, Amazon a few years ago was trying to introduce this idea where you could walk in the store, pick something up, put it in your cart, and it would automatically go to your bill. And you could walk out. There's no cashier, no nothing. You just walk in the store, scan whatever little card you got at the end of the store, pick the item up. The item goes into the basket. It would recognize that it was put in the basket, and it would be paid for. And you could literally just walk out. That's what technology is doing for society. And my issue with it is, not only is it going to put certain people out of work, but what do we do with these people who are out of work now? Where do they go? You get what I'm saying? What do they do now? For some people who don't have the ability to go to college or can't afford to go to college to get some of these higher jobs that only are given to people who have degrees. And nowadays you can't even get a job off a simple bachelor's degree. You got to have your master's damn near to be able to get a good job. So for the people who don't take that route, what happens to them? Right? What happens to those people? And like I said, with AI, now you're talking about creating a whole new kind of history. I saw a picture where they was talking about these were the first black cowgirls. And if you just scrolling or you not really paying attention, you be like, oh, that's dope. But me, I like to really examine and look at stuff. So as soon as I click on a picture, I'm noticing something's a little off. Zoom in. I see the distorted face, the extra fingers, because for some reason right now, AI, when it comes to group pictures, I don't know why it hasn't had the ability to make the people kind of, I wouldn't want to say perfect, but look like real people when it comes to group pictures. It hasn't really done well with that just yet, but it will eventually. But again, we talking about the potential of being able to change history. Like I said, if that falls into the wrong hands, what history gets erased? What is said to not be true? Will they erase slavery? Will there be a generation of children who don't know who Martin Luther King is or Malcolm X? Or will there be a new group of children who don't like black people because somebody went and changed the vocals on a speech that Dr. King gave or Malcolm X gave, and they be like, see, this is hate. They hated us. And of course, most people don't just go and do research. So they wouldn't even know like, oh, this voice was doctored. It was AI was put over this to make you believe something completely different. That's where my mind is kind of going with AI. But again, I do see the benefits in it. I'm not saying it's completely bad. I just pray that there are things put in place to make sure things are done properly. Like Twitter has this thing that it does when some misinformation comes out, it'll put under certain posts that this article or this video is giving out misinformation. These things never. Matter of fact, Zion, a woman came out saying something about Zion, and under the video, it says, Zion does not have another child, and blah, 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 blah. But even in that, could that be misinformation as well? We're giving a lot of credence to technology, and I just pray that it's just not something that, goes off the rails. Because it could. It easily could. I can't imagine a generation not knowing, their history. You get what I'm saying? It could do that. It's almost like it could just reboot everything and persuade and change the minds of a whole different generation behind us. So that's how I look at AI. Like I said, it's not completely a bad thing, but I just pray that it will have some rules to it. I hope we don't completely find ourselves depending on it. And the next thing you know, we living in the Matrix, which is very possible if we're not already living in the Matrix. So that's that. I think something that's also interesting to speak on is, and don't get me wrong, again, I kind of brushed over this before with the Caitlin Clark situation, and it's just seeing how the media is very powerful in this sense, right? It's just kind of seeing how the media can persuade people to see something a certain way. I know a lot of you are probably familiar with Caitlin Clark, and she's definitely a talented young lady in every right. But what I don't like is that how does someone who loses for the second year in a row get so much praise, right? How does that happen? You get what I'm saying? Normally the loser doesn't get the accolades or doesn't get the celebrity. You know what I'm saying? South Carolina, I haven't really seen much about South Carolina in the media. It's always Caitlin Clark. And I'm like, she lost. Why is she being pushed to the forefront? Well, we know why. And again, that's no disrespect to her, because she doesn't really have the control. I mean, self-preservation, let's be real here. If someone's throwing me opportunities and, helping me move forward with my career, I'm going to take advantage of it. But again, it's always an agenda being pushed. And there's nothing done in the moral compass that they want the rest of the world to follow. How do you want me to be in line with the rules of society when you don't even fall in line with your own rules? And that's kind of like the crazy part about this whole situation. I mean, granted, I think, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark and some of the other ladies coming into the WNBA are definitely about to help the WNBA get to a point, because I know there's always been this frustration about the support that comes with the WNBA and how the players don't make the same amount of money as NBA stars. And it's a lot of factors that go into that. It's not only about the support, it's also about, it's business at the end of the day. I remember I Googled how much they made in a year, and one player in the NBA got as much as they made in 1 year. So they really just don't have the financial means to pay the players a certain amount of money, because the support is not really there, in a sense. Most of us don't really watch WNBA, but that may change now. Like I said, I think if I'm the WNBA, what I believe they should do is they need to make a hero and they need to make a villain, and they need to build a story around that. And that's what's going to make it interesting. And give these women personalities. I'm not saying they don't have personalities. I'm just saying, let us see the personalities. Let us see the drama. Let's see the bullshit. Because that all comes with the sport, right? We want to see that. That's what made women's college basketball so entertaining, is that we've seen the rawness, the emotions and everything. So we need to see that continue. And that's what the WNBA should do. It's almost like kind of what the NBA did with Magic and Bird. Because at one point in time, the NBA was a dying industry until Magic and Bird came. And they built that story around them. They had the hero and they had the villain. Well, the villain wasn't as much as a villain. The villain was very likable, being Magic. But again, it was that storyline. That's what created that fan, that fan base. Here you have Larry Bird, the Great White Hope, and here you have Magic Johnson, you get what I'm saying? The villain to the Great White Hope, in a sense. They both were phenomenal players, but That was the bullshit and the drama. And that's what people like to do, right? They like to watch bullshit and they like to watch drama. So I feel like if the WNBA wants more support, that's probably the route they should probably go. They probably really need to build that story around Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. If they're willing to, participate, they don't have to participate in that. I don't want to see the political correct answers. I want to see nah, this she's trash. She can't play. She can't stick with me. All that. I want to hear them talk like that. Let's play sports. Let's be real here. But that's where I end tonight's show. Hopefully, next week I'm not talking about this beef. This has been the third week. I'm done. Pause. I didn't mean to say it like that. The beef. Pause again. My cousin back there laughing. But I'm done with it because at this point, like I said, when the song drops, it drops. Let me know how y'all feel about the AI subject though. I want to know if y'all believe it's something good or something bad, or it's going to have its ups and downs like anything else. Thank y'all for tapping in with me. As always, subscribe, share, like. We'll be back next week.
6 figures in, finally getting some wiggle room. Need more Lexus in the whip, in the house with some bigger rooms. Sex, religion, politics, so 3 things will get you canceled. It's the wild tap, sweep with purpose, we